Hello everyone and welcome to another FM19 Team guide. Today it's the term of West Ham United, a team that have not necessarily transformed but made a few interesting transfers this summer. The likes of Jack Wilshere, Felipe Anderson, Fabianski and Lucas from Arsenal, spending I'd say over about 70-80 million under the leadership of Pellegrini. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So West Ham have got a good squad. They've been established in the Premier League for a number of years, but over the last few years have been going through something of a decline. Ever since that 7th place finish a few years ago, they've just been on the decline. And it looks like West Ham could be a team that can battle for 7th, but can also be in the relegation zone. They're a very funny team like that, and started the season off very poorly, but luckily now they're getting off to a decent start. But if we look at the squad, some of the squad's strongest points, you've got Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson, Arnautovic and Wilshere, as the likes of Fabianski, very experienced as well. A lot of these players are experienced. But we've also got some younger players, the likes of Declan Rice, Issa Diop, Masuaku and Sam Byron and Fernandez, who are all out on loan. It looks like a decent squad to me. Mark Noble is the ever-consistent captain. We've got Arnautovic, who's just joined the club. He actually joined the club last year. He's the vice-captain. And our key player, apparently, is Yarmolenko, who's joined the club for 18 million from Borussia Dortmund. But let's have a look at tactics. Let's see how we get on. We've got 3 players on the top of the dynamics tree. With Mark Noble, Zabaleta and Wilshere. With Wilshere just joining the club, obviously, so that's an interesting one, how he's been able to cement himself as a team leader already. In fact, he's part of one of the smallest social groups, social group A secondary. Wilshere, Cresswell and Andy Carroll made of similar personalities and age, which is interesting there. But Zabaleta is reaching his retirement, and I can imagine that Mark Noble maybe might not be in the team for a hell of a lot longer. I mean, there's a lot of good central midfield options, the likes of Wilshere, Obiang, Sanchez and Lanzini, who might go past Mark Noble in the next few years. So I'm guessing Mark Noble and Zabaleta will be leaving the club in the next few years. But I reckon that the likes of Arnautovic and possibly Chicharito and Yarmolenko, if they start playing well, will transfer up to that team leader spot. So there's a good squad of players here at West Ham, so I don't think you've got too much to worry about in terms of dynamics. With the likes of Wilshere approaching the peak of his career, and Noble and Zabaleta well established in the squads. For the moment, the team leaders look all good, and there's a lot of highly influential players in there, the likes of Arnautovic, Reed and Chicharito, who can possibly rise up in the future. Let's have a look at the tactics we've gone for then. We've gone for the West Ham tactic, which is a 4-2-3-1, and we've gone with the Gegenpress tactic. We've gone with Fabianski in goal, which is fairly obvious. He's just joined the club and he's a little bit better than Adrian in terms of his stats. Then we've got Ryan Fredericks, Balbuena, Rice and Masuaku at the back, with a bit of depth in the squad, the likes of Ogbonna, Issa Diop, Sanchez and Pablo Zabaleta, who can all come into the team, as well as Aaron Cresswell as well. In the midfield, we've got Mark Noble and Jack Wilshere, again, 2 of the team leaders. And then we've got Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson and Arnautovic in the central attacking midfield positions, with a bit of depth on the bench, the likes of Robert Snodgrass, Michail Antonio, and Chicharito can't really play there, but I suppose Lucas can play in those positions as well. And then we've got Lucas up front with a bit of depth of Chicharito on the bench, or Javier Hernandez if you want to rename him that. I don't quite know why he's just called Chicharito, but we'll go with it. He joined West Ham last year, had a decent season, and I think he could be a good, useful tool for you. But I think the tactic's good, 4-2-3-1. We've got the 2 left full-back playing on a wing-back automatic role, and that seems to be the one that full-backs actually like this year, and that's what people seem to like. Rather than playing a full-back, a wing-back seems to be a little bit better. We've gone with automatic just so that they can come back and go forward when needed, rather than setting them on attack, forcing them to go forward. You know, if there's no need for them to go forward, then there's no point. They can judge that for themselves, I'm quite sure. Obviously, Noble is a deep-line playmaker, with Wilshere pushing up a little bit, and then you've got the 2 inside forwards on attack, and Felipe Anderson as an attacking midfield on support. Just bearing in mind that those 3, Arnautovic, Yarmolenko and Lucas, are all an attacking mentality, so we put Anderson back to support mentality, just to make sure we keep grounded and don't go too attacking. But the mentality is positive. Of course, that can be changed to counter-attacking or attacking, and that will alter these out-of-possession in transition and possession tactics if possible and when needed. But in terms of the team report, there is a little bit of lack of depth in goal and at left-back, and interestingly, if you look at left-back, we have not got one natural left-back. We've got a few accomplished left-backs in terms of Cresswell and Masuaku, but we haven't got one natural left-back. In terms of in the net, our players that we've got, if we look at the under-23s and under-18s as well, we've got obviously the 2 of them. We've got Fabianski and Adrian, who are getting on a little bit, and our 2 youth prospects, Trott and Anang, don't look too fantastic. So I think we might have to recruit externally, which is what we're going to do. We're going to have a look at that now. So in terms of the scouting I've done, I haven't really picked out many players, but there's a few players I've picked out that could potentially come into the squad. So let's start in the goal first. Timo Horn is the first one I've picked out. Now I'm just bearing in mind that Timo Horn has plenty of Bundesliga experience, but his side Cologne have just been relegated and possibly might command a bit of a lower transfer fee. Man City are interested in the player, which is interesting. But I reckon that you could command a lower transfer fee for Timo Horn. They'll tell me to get lost here. But again, 15.5 million isn't a bad price, actually. The client, apparently, Horn's interested in going to West Ham. And I think that could be a good signing. Potentially, maybe sending back on loan to Germany for a year, as you've already got 2 goalkeepers. But I think that's a good idea. Again, Timo Horn, plenty of experience in the Bundesliga, and could come out well for you in the Premier League. And again, he's a lot younger than the other goalkeepers available. Gazzaniga from Tottenham might be a cheaper alternative, but just bear in mind that he hasn't really got the experience. He's had a few seasons, but in fact, he's only really had the 1 season with Rayo Vallecano. But Tottenham don't play him, so I'm just thinking it could be a bit of a lower transfer fee, but a bit of a risk for a Premier League club. Next, on to left-backs, we've got Jethro Villains, who has joined Frankfurt in the last few years from PSV. He's got a bit of Bundesliga experience as well as experience in the Eredivisie. But obviously, he's a natural left-back, which we haven't got in the squad. He's quite young as well, 24 years of age. He could definitely compete, I think, with the likes of Masuaku and where is he? Cresswell for a first-team spot. Cresswell is getting on a bit as well, 28 years old, and Masuaku is 24. So potentially it might be Masuaku and Willems that fight for that squad. And as well, he's an attacking fullback, which suits our wing-back automatic preference. Rico Henry's another option, who's another good wing-back / fullback. And he's got a very good potential ability, I'd say. He hasn't actually been scouted, but I reckon he's been good. He's actually been at Brentford for a number of years now, after joining from from Walsall, one of my local clubs. He had a very good youth time at Walsall. He had 1 full season and has had a few sporadic campaigns for Brentford, but I think he could possibly get up to the Premier League. He's not really got much interest from elsewhere, and I think you might be able to nab him whilst his interest is quite low. And potentially, he's got the cruciate ligament damage, so you might be able to pick him up for a lower price and use him from January, so I don't really think there's much issue there. But in terms of training, we don't really look at training these team guides, because I don't know too much about training at the moment, but what we look at is work rate and determination. We've got no problems with the likes of Zabaleta, Cresswell, Sanchez, Wilshere and Obiang, but the likes of Felipe Anderson, Chicharito and Yarmolenko might struggle. But saying that, they make up for that in their determination stats, which I presume the 2 of those make up their training. I mean, if you look at Chicharito, his work rate is quite poor, but then again, his determination's quite good, and his concentration's quite good. So whether that's going to come into training, I'm not quite sure. But again, if players aren't doing very well in training, you can go to the training bit and go, you're not playing very well in training, or you're not training very well, and they'll react to that accordingly. If they don't react very well, then they don't deserve to be in your squad, do they? But anything else that we can go through before we call it a day there? I don't think so. We've had a very short team guide today, and that is going to be about it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this team guide. I hope you guys have found it effective, and I've told you some good information about the squad, transfers, dynamics, training and tactics. And if you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment on the video your thoughts, and also subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager 2019 content. But until the next time, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.